Another Cup Series seat has been filled. Kyle Busch explains exactly what went wrong between he and Joe Gibbs Racing back in 2022, and Matt DiBenedetto has fooled us for the final time. How's it going, y'all? My name is Eric. Welcome back to another packed episode of Out of the Groove. Quick plug, if you missed it yesterday, I made my way too early 2024 NASCAR Cup Series playoff predictions. I feel good. I think this is the year I finally go 16 for 16. Click the little notification up here in the corner to check that out in case you missed it. Let me know if you agree with my bold preseason picks. Let's begin with a big story from yesterday. Kaz Grala is joining Rick Ware Racing. Grala will make 25 Cup Series starts behind the wheel of the number 15 Ford. He'll race at the Clash at the Coliseum, but his first points race will be at Atlanta, the second race of the regular season. Grala has not raced in Cup since 2022, but he's a good, solid young racer. I think his claims to fame include the 2020 Daytona Road Course race. Remember, this was the COVID year. He subbed for Austin Dillon, drove the 3-car to a top 10 finish. He also helped get the Money Team into the 2022 Daytona 500. And last year he raced for Sam Hunt Racing in the Xfinity Series, managed 9 top 10s, including a couple of top 5s, one at Richmond and one at the Charlotte Roval. He often stands out at road courses. I like this move. It solidifies Rick Ware Racing's new identity. They've got Justin Haley, 24 years old, young guy, racing full-time in the 51. Now they've got 25-year-old Kaz Grala, another young driver racing, 2/3 of the schedule. Two young drivers, Kaz Grala, known for his road course success. Justin Haley, great super speedway racer, has 4 Xfinity wins at super speedways. He technically has a Cup Series win on his resume as well. Two young drivers with a ton of upside. I also like the move they made earlier this week, bringing Chris Lawson over to serve as Justin Haley's crew chief. Chris Lawson is a proven Truck Series winner. He's a proven Truck Series champion. I like where this team is at, and finally, I think I can say I like where this team is going. I feel like it all started this last season when they brought veteran drivers like Ryan Newman, Andy Lally on board. Now the team has an identity. They're a young, interesting, exciting race team. Rick Ware Racing has been the butt of many jokes in the past. I don't believe that will be the case in 2024. They're not going to make the playoffs this season, barring some shock victory at a super speedway somewhere, but they are building something positive. They've closed that gap. That is progress. This team is interesting, finally. I love it, I really do. And speaking of interesting teams, Derek Cope made an interesting post to Facebook suggesting the return of Starcom Racing. Had to check my watch. Is this April Fool's Day? Starcom hasn't raced in NASCAR since 2021. They sold their charter to 2311 Racing. What is this? I don't know. It sounds like we'll find out in a couple weeks, though Derek Cope did reply to someone in the comments and seemed to confirm that this has nothing to do with NASCAR, ARCA, Trucks Xfinity Cup, anything like that. So, good luck to Derek Cope, racer. Want to see what he does next, but it doesn't sound like this has any really to do with NASCAR at all. The word of the day is interesting. Interesting teams, an interesting driver who's beginning to ride my last nerve. Let's talk about Matt DiBenedetto. Matt DiBenedetto has belittled the power of the pen emoji. He's made a mockery of it, turned it into some sort of joke. Matt DiBenedetto shall not be forgiven. Okay, no, in all seriousness, what am I getting at? A few weeks ago, Matt DiBenedetto tweeted the pen emoji. It was Noah Gragson, right, who first made the pen emoji famous a few years back. The pen emoji signifies a signature. You have signed something. You've signed a contract. Drivers use the pen emoji to tease upcoming announcements, a new ride, a new sponsor. The pen emoji is sacred. Its meaning is not to be tampered with. Matty D apparently did not get the same memo. Look at this tweet from Bob Pockris, Fox Sports, earlier today. Still TBD on Matt DiBenedetto for 2024. Obviously, he thought he had something set for 2024, but with no announcement, it would seem that it didn't materialize. So it sounds like Matt DiBenedetto may have jumped the gun, posted the pen emoji without having signed a contract? Look, maybe he does have an announcement coming up soon. Maybe Bob Pockris' speculation is incorrect. I highly doubt it. All I know about Matt DiBenedetto is that he is a solid stock car racing talent who has the worst PR department in professional sports. Or maybe his lack of a PR team is the real problem. I still hope DiBenedetto lands somewhere, but man, can he stay out of his own way for 5 seconds? Dude's done almost nothing but step on rakes the past 3 years. It's exhausting. I feel for the guy. I want to see him do well, just can't stay out of his own way. Another driver posting teasers, hopefully this one is legit, is Raja Karuth. Posted this photo yesterday, implying he has some sort of deal done for 2024. I hope that's the case. I like Raja Karuth, full disclosure. I consider him a friend of the show. We used to do a live stream together a few years back. He raced full-time in trucks for GMS Racing last year. The beginning of the season was a struggle, but by the end of the year, Raja had clearly improved. He finished the year with 7 straight top 15 finishes. In trucks, that's pretty solid, including a few top 10s. He had a top 10 at Bristol, IRP, I believe, Homestead, tough tracks. He got better as the year went on. Remember, he ran that Xfinity race at Phoenix, the finale, for Hendrick, and finished 14th. Not too bad. Again, I'm a bit biased here because I like Raja. I've enjoyed talking to him over the years. I know it's cliche, but he truly is a sponge, soaking up any and all information he can from throughout the garage. I think he's learned a lot over the years. I think he's clearly gotten better, which is why I'm not like off the bandwagon. Is he a bona fide, superstar the way NASCAR president Steve Phelps has suggested in the past? No, that's unfair and unrealistic pressure to put on this kid. But there's something there. The improvement he has shown is clear. It's palatable. I hope it continues. So whatever deal he's set to announce, whether it's trucks, Xfinity, ARCA, who knows, I hope he does well next season and continues to show clear improvement. He's still young. He doesn't have to go out and contend for wins and championships right away. He's likable, he's marketable, he can take his time learning, and I hope that's what he does in 2024. Finally, let's wrap things up today with a big story. Richard Childress Racing announced a new anchor sponsor for Kyle Busch, Zone Nicotine Pouches. They will be the primary sponsor on the number 8 car for the majority of the 2024 schedule. They'll be on Kyle Busch's car for the season opening Daytona 500. And an interesting fact, Zone is owned by ITG Brands, who also now owns the Winston brand. RCR has announced multiple new sponsors for Kyle Busch in the past week. According to The Athletic, the 8 car is sold out for 2024. That's great. It's funny because Kyle Busch is like the rebellious child star who's trying to appeal now to a more mature audience. He went from the bright, colorful Candyman to now sponsored by bourbon and nicotine. He's gone full 21 plus. It's honestly a shame 3Chi isn't returning this year. Obviously, it's a huge deal for RCR and Kyle Busch to land a major sponsor like this, but I mentioned The Athletic. Jordan Bianchi published a very interesting piece today that included some candid quotes from Kyle Busch detailing what went wrong in 2022 between he and Joe Gibbs Racing. I encourage you to click the top link down below to check out the full article. Subscribe to The Athletic. Jordan Bianchi, Jeff Gluck, they do fantastic work there all year long. I'll read you one quote from Kyle Busch where he explains why he ultimately left Joe Gibbs Racing. Quote, "Did JGR try hard enough to sell me? My answer to that is no. I'm being frank, and it might bite me in the butt, but they put all their eggs in one basket with the Oracle deal. And the way the Oracle deal got introduced to us was really weird. They had just signed a contract for $500 million or something with Red Bull. So I'm like, there's no way they're going to do a NASCAR deal. Not a chance. So I told those guys, look, you've got to look elsewhere. You've got to look outside. We've got to call everybody else. Instead, they offered me a contract to race there and they weren't going to have sponsorship on the car. But I didn't feel like that was fair for the 15 years that I was there. I didn't want Joe putting his own money into the program." Okay, we're taking things back to 2022 now, over a year and a half ago. These comments from Kyle Busch back up a lot of the reports and speculation at the time. We knew that JGR was talking to Oracle, a major tech company, about sponsoring Kyle Busch. We also know that sometime in the spring, that deal fell through. We know that JGR tried to sell sponsorship for Kyle Busch, at least up to a point. We also know that Joe Gibbs Racing had a much younger, much cheaper Cup Series ready driver with Monster Energy support and a last name of Gibbs waiting in the wings. So yes, could Joe Gibbs Racing have tried harder to piece together, 4 races here, 6 races here, smaller sponsorship packages to keep Kyle Busch in the 18? Absolutely. But typically that's not how Joe Gibbs Racing operates. Richard Childress is much more comfortable operating that way. They operated that way before Kyle Busch, and they've operated that way since Kyle Busch has gotten there. I still found it very interesting to hear Kyle Busch talk about the, hypothetical, theoretical Oracle deal that never came to fruition. And I also found those final comments from Kyle Busch interesting. Him talking about JGR offering him a deal without sponsorship attached. Kyle Busch turned it down because he didn't want Joe to spend his own money to fund the car. That part is still a bit confusing to me. Did Kyle Busch turn down JGR's offer solely because it didn't feel right to him to take Joe Gibbs's money? Or did Kyle Busch turn that deal down because there wasn't sponsorship attached? It was likely for a lesser value than Kyle Busch was looking for. I don't know, and maybe we'll never know, but I'm still a little confused after hearing Kyle Busch's comments there, because we know Joe Gibbs Racing did offer Busch a deal even without a sponsor attached. My guess is that deal was for much less money than Kyle Busch was used to getting paid. Perhaps it was even for less money than he's getting now from Richard Childress Racing, and that's why he ultimately chose to go elsewhere. That's my guess, but I guess money isn't always everything. Maybe there's more to Kyle Busch's decision than initially meets the eye. Kyle Busch did tell The Athletic that he chose Richard Childress Racing because he liked the way their sales team operated. He said, quote, "I decided that it would be better served for me to go somewhere that had a sales team that got sales for Tyler Reddick and Austin Dillon and everything else that's happened at RCR over the years. I mean, we're still knocking sponsors down, it seems, and bringing them in." Say what you will, Richard Childress Racing has done a great job of selling Kyle Busch these past 2 seasons. I think he was sold out of sponsorship for 2023 as well. So even after hearing these comments, we still don't know exactly what happened between Kyle Busch and Joe Gibbs Racing, but it was nice to hear Busch kind of open up more. I'll say this though, put money to the side. I don't know what Kyle Busch's current contract with RCR is worth, and honestly, I don't care. I believe moving to RCR has been great for Kyle Busch. On track last year, he still won 3 races, made the playoffs, was often mentioned as one of the championship contenders. He proved to himself and the world that he can win without Toyota's support. But more than just that, I think the moving to RCR was good for Kyle Busch's ego. What do I mean by that? RCR is a classic team. They're a fan favorite team that hasn't won a championship since the 90s, since Dale Earnhardt. Kyle Busch comes in and immediately gives this team their best shot at winning a title in nearly 10 years. He's almost like their savior. And now he's getting cheered by fans at the racetrack. I believe Kyle Busch never really embraced the boos. He's never leaned into the jeers as smoothly as Denny Hamlin has recently, for example. Kyle Busch is not the same hot-headed driver he was 15 years ago. He's mellowed out a ton and still won races and contended for championships on the racetrack. I think he's one of the cleanest drivers, fairest racers the Cup Series has today. Fans did not like JGR Kyle Busch, but the way that deal went down, Busch moving to RCR, a classic fan favorite team, putting that team on the map for the first time in years, now he's popular. I think he likes the cheers on Sunday. That would not have happened if he had stayed at Joe Gibbs Racing. So on track, he still is just about as formidable as ever, and now off track, I suppose he's a fan favorite. I think this turned out to be a great deal for Kyle Busch. But again, I don't know the dollars and cents. That obviously matters as well. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Did these new comments from Kyle Busch, shed any additional light on what happened in 2022? What questions do you still have? What do you believe took place behind closed doors? Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Thank you all so much for watching this episode, y'all. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. We talk NASCAR every single day. A huge thank you to my very generous Patreon supporters. I will see you again soon. Have a wonderful rest of your day, folks. I'll catch you in the next episode.